Welcome. This is a monthly webinar series we've been doing. Every month, InternetShe does a free webinar open to all. You don't have to be a member of InternetShe to attend one of our webinars. And this one's about how to inspect for air leakage in a home. You should be able to see me in this little screen. I can't see you. You should be able to hear me, hopefully. Yeah. But I can't hear you. So if you wanted to ask a question, again, use that control panel on your right. And it's all about providing value to your client, right? You're taking this webinar so that you can increase your service quality so that you can provide value to your service. And if the perceived value by your client is greater than your cost, then it's a no-brainer. It's a good business decision. The perceived value, the value that your client perceives in the information that you provide them, if it's greater than the cost, then you've got profit, and that's a good thing. If you can, let's say, save your clients $1,000 every year, at the end of the year, they'll have an extra $1,000. For me, I can take my family on a nice weekend vacation for $1,000. You know, if you could save your client $1,000 every year with your inspection service and your home energy report, that's pretty good value. So I'll show you how you can provide great value at little cost, and that way you can boost your inspection business. Another example would to provide a home energy report, include a home energy report with your home inspection, or include a home maintenance book. A home maintenance book is only a couple bucks, but the perceived value is pretty great. It's $20, $30, everyone thinks the book is. A 100-day warranty. Well, by the end of this webinar, you'll know how to provide great value to your clients at no cost to you. And then once you provide that value, then you charge for it. So air leakage, when a home leaks air, it leaks energy. And it's equivalent to the homeowner, occupant, throwing buckets of quarters out the window. And adding insulation and sealing air leaks can improve the energy efficiency of the home, increase the durability of the home, and increase the comfort level of the home. However, when you change the building's envelope, though its walls, ceilings, or floors, you'll affect everything else in the home. You change one thing and everything else is affected, because a house is a system. And as home inspectors trained by InternetShe, we all know that a house is a system, and it's composed of many independent parts. And those parts work together really well. And if you change one part, the way the house breathes, say, you're going to affect a lot of things in the home, because one part affects all others, because the house is a system. So in this webinar, we'll go over what an inspector needs to know in order to inspect for air leakage in a home, including the 19 most common areas to inspect for air leakage, the potential durability and health concerns related to air leakage, and some recommendations that you can make about air leakage. And here's a shot. I used to be a home inspector in Pennsylvania, a cold climate area, Northeast. And this is one of my photos that I've had. I've kept them all. And so the standards of practice, real quick on the standards of practice, doesn't require you to move insulation, right? But I did. I went beyond that. It was a minimum for me, standards of practice. So I moved insulation, and I actually wanted to provide extra value to my client. When I got down from the attic, I wanted something to say. So I actually went to problematic areas, like anything that went through the attic floor, I went to. If there's a chimney, a vent pipe, some electrical wire, some kind of structure, a skylight coming from a bathroom, right? I went there and I moved the insulation. I put it right back, right? This was a common thing for some reason in Pennsylvania. This is a flue pipe. Let's see if I can get fancy here. So this is a flue pipe that went from the roof all the way through the roof, down all the way to the basement. And There's the fire stop there, but it's not going to help because this is actually acting like a window, an open window. This house has an open window, and this is conditioned air in here. This is in the back side of, looks like plaster walls. This looks like a switch, about 4 feet high, and a beer can there. Hope you can see that. Hope it's big enough on your screen. This is an area where there was a lot of conditioned air moving out of the house because of stack effect. Stack effect is, think of a stack in an air column and moving air. So air would infiltrate into the lower home and move up and exfiltrate out. And this column, open column, provided a great way to move air. You know, they were losing conditioned air. So in the northeast cold climate areas, assume that the attic was cold and the house air, conditioned air, is heated. All that money generated to heat the house was being pushed up, escaping out of the house through that open window, essentially. And it carried dirt with it too. So if you see on the left side, dirty insulation. This isn't mold. This is dirt that was caught by the fiberglass insulation. And we'll talk more about that. This is something that we're looking for. This house was bleeding energy. The occupant was paying bills, skyrocketing bills. Let's clean that up. So if you see dirty insulation, actually, it's not necessarily mold. Have you seen dirty insulation like that before when you go into a house? Anyone? Have you ever seen black insulation like that? I have a couple more pictures. Let's see what we can do here. So here's a few, and if you can have these graphics too in my PowerPoint, but here's a few other areas that you can inspect. So this is a knee wall in the attic. The wall itself is insulated. That's great. But there's a space under the knee wall in the floor, in the bay of the floor joist, in between the floor joists. And there's conditioned air that has escaped from below the attic space. It goes up, hits the attic floor, and then comes out there, right? You want to trap that stuff. Or it could be leaking from a little space where the knee wall, stud wall, meets the floor, and attic is bleeding energy out there. That's one area to see. So there's sometimes if the knee wall is high enough and then the space is big enough, they'll have an access panel. You open that access panel, you look in the left and right, look at the structure, look for water leaks, look at the insulation, look for knob and tube wiring or bad wiring, and then go under the knee wall and see if that's open. If it's open, you've identified an energy loss area, energy deficiency. You'll have to describe it in your own terms. That's your own language. Here's an attic access panel. Those are always uninsulated, unsealed. So it's cold outside, right? So there's snow outside, and cold air is coming in through the doors and then through the windows, and where the foundation wall meets the sill plate on top of the foundation wall and the floor structure, there's cold air coming in, goes across the floor, and it can go up into a wall switch. I apologize for the blurriness. It's kind of pixelated when I zoom in. And that air is being sucked in through the wall switch and also the wall outlet. And then it travels up through the interior wall and into the attic space through the drilled holes that the electrician put to feed the wires from the switch or the outlet into the attic space and travel around, right? So even that needs to be sealed. Here's another place to look for air leaks at a drop soffit. So this is the bathroom. The heated air is going up right up through the can light in the drop ceiling of the bathroom above the mirror, and it goes right up into the attic space. It's often like that with the kitchen. Here's a vent pipe. Here's the flue pipe for the chimney. We already saw that. Oh, sorry about that. So, Imagine opening a window in your house and leaving it open 24 hours a day, all year round. Some existing homes that we inspect, and we know that out of the 117 million homes, 80 million of them were built around 1980, 85, before modern energy codes. So most of the homes that we inspect are not sealed. So it's a great opportunity for a lot of inspectors around the country to provide really great, valuable information to their clients. Now, let's say you have an open window. No big deal if the wind isn't blowing. But let's say it is blowing and your conditioned air, let's say it's cold outside and you're heating the house and the window's open. What's going to happen? We all know you're throwing buckets of money right out the window, right? Because that heated, conditioned air is going out the window. Well, when an existing home leaks air, it's like having a window open all the time. So when you're trying to explain to your client, what are you looking for? Air leakage in the attic floor? I don't get it. Tell them, when you find a hole in the attic floor and you add up all the holes, it's kind of like having a window open all the time. In the wintertime, when you're trying to heat the house, that's what it's like because of the stack effect. That's one way to explain it to your clients. So air sealing is one of the least expensive, most cost-effective measures a homeowner can do to improve the home's energy performance and comfort. By sealing the air leaks, homeowners can expect 20-30% savings in their utility bills. I'll take that. I live in an older home. It was built in 1974. You should see my attic floor. Big holes. We do a lot of training videos up in my attic. Without proper ventilation, though, carbon monoxide can build up. So when you seal up the house, right, you make it nice and tight. Well, the house needs to breathe. It needs to properly ventilate, not infiltrate and exfiltrate not controllably, but it needs to keep that fresh air. The indoor air quality needs to still be good. So you need proper ventilation if you're going to seal those air leaks. One way is to open up a window, but there are better ways to do that, to provide fresh air to the home. The difference between air sealing, why do you need to seal air leaks? You can just add more insulation, right? Well, wrong. Insulation is like a fuzzy wool sweater. That's one of the ugliest Christmas sweaters I've ever seen. The wool sweater will certainly keep you warm if it's calm, but if you're outside and the wind starts to blow, that wind will blow across your wool sweater and take your heat away. It'll wash it away, it'll carry it away. That's why air sealing is like adding a windbreaker, that extra layer. And it keeps the conditioned air where it belongs. It doesn't lose that conditioned air. Tightening the building envelope without proper ventilation can cause pressure imbalances. So when you put on that windbreaker, sometimes if it's not a really nice windbreaker, you sometimes sweat, right? Because you're not ventilated anymore. Same thing as in a house that's not properly ventilated. You can have pressure imbalances, and you can have the fuel burning combustion appliances starved for air, combustion air. So that's the difference between, if you needed to explain it to your client about adding insulation. Years ago when I was an inspector, I would go up into the attic, measure the thickness of the insulation, and where I wanted 10, 12 inches of fiberglass insulation. And if it was less than that, I would say, hey, add more insulation. We know better now. Need to do air sealing and then add insulation, because adding insulation doesn't help when there's air movement. We'll explain that a little bit later. Have you ever seen this? So this is dirty insulation again, fiberglass insulation, fiberglass bat on an old home, and they added insulation, right, on top of it because it was inadequate. So there's a really thick blanket of new insulation. But this is the original fiberglass insulation. This dirty black stuff isn't mold, it's not condensation, and it's in the pattern of this, right? So This is air leakage coming from this area here. And it's carrying with it the air leakage out of the attic floor ceiling. Air is moving through the attic floor ceiling and carrying with it dirt, dust. And the fiberglass insulation is like a filter. We call it filter glass. It's not fiberglass, it's filter glass. It filters air. It doesn't stop air moving. It controls the heat, stops the heat, but it doesn't stop the air. So the air moves through the filter glass and the dirt gets caught on the bottom. So when you pull up the insulation, especially batt insulation, you reveal this dirt stuff. That's indications of air leakage. Okay? Let's erase this. So here's some stud walls seen from the attic floor, above the attic floor, and looking down at this stud walls, interior stud walls. Those are the top plates. And you can see a lack of sealant. So there's a lot of opportunities for air to leak through. This is where air leaks through here, air leaks through here. This is air leakage. This is air leakage. And what do you do for air leakage? You seal it up. And spray foam and rigid foam board can create an air barrier as well as a thermal barrier. They do both. So when you spray foam, you know that spray foam and it expands and it's sometimes yellow, usually yellow. They have new spray equipment now for construction and weatherization. But the spray foam cans, that's both an air barrier and a thermal barrier. So good air sealing and a continuous air barrier between the attic and the house are important, not only to save energy, but to prevent moisture problems in the attic. The warmer the air is, the more moisture it can carry. So if warm, moist air leaks through holes in the attic floor, that can condense on cold components, structural components observable from the attic. So as a home inspector, I go up in the attic, I'm looking around for structural problems and condensation and moisture problems, and I see moisture. Feels moist, smells musty. There's maybe rust marks or frost marks on the roofing nails that come through the sheeting. There's some kind of condensation problem. And way back when, we all thought that it was a roof leak or a prior roof leak, right? Or maybe the dryer is blowing air in. Now, you can have a perfectly level insulation level. You know, you look in the attic and it's all insulated, but there's condensation problems. What the heck's going on? Air leakage. Air moves through insulation, especially in an older home where there's holes and there's no weatherization. It's not tight. So air is coming up through, warm air, carrying moisture, goes through the filter glass, dirties it, and then condenses on the components of the home. And the value that you get by knowing about air leakage is incredible to your inspection service. It's not about a roof leak anymore. It's about air leakage. It could be an air leakage problem. So sealing holes in the attic makes chimneys and flues work better because a leaky attic acts like a chimney, and then they compete with one another. So if you have an older home that hasn't been weatherized, you remove the attic insulation and you can see gaps. There's a stack effect going on. Air is moving up through the building components and into the attic. It's acting like a chimney, and it's competing with the natural draft hot water tank that needs draft. Now when you're down in the basement and you see backdrafting problems on a home, I wonder what that's about. It could be, don't start writing down, oh, it's because of energy. It could be, if you want to go into diagnosis, it could be an air leakage problem, because those two things are now competing for one another. A leaky attic floor and a fuel burning appliance draft flue are now competing with one another. It's pretty interesting. Oh, let's erase this stuff. So there's some pictures of some dirty insulation. Now take a look at dirty insulation now. You'll really see it. Once you start looking for it, you'll see it. Let's take a look at one of my inspection reports. I'm beating up reports, so I'm not above anything. So here's one of my reports from Westchester, Pennsylvania in 2007. There's some electrical problems I identified. Electrical wires hanging out. The bathroom fan is exhausting. And then for insulation, I identified the type of insulation, identified the thickness, and identified some missing insulation at the attic access. And my correction and further evaluation recommendation is very simple. It's estimated 6 inches thick. That's inadequate. Standard requires about 10 inches thick, or an R30 value of insulation installed at the attic floor area. Frankly, that's not enough. I mean, if I was writing a report nowadays, I would properly mention how air sealing is critical. You just don't throw more insulation at the problem. You have to seal the house. But remember, air sealing affects other systems and components of the home because a house is a system. So when you change one thing, you affect other things. So when you make a recommendation for air sealing and insulation, they go together. They're a pair. You can't recommend one without the other. Air sealing and adding insulation go together. So when you make that recommendation, you have to say by a proper contractor, a trained, a qualified contractor. Really, a home performance contractor is the terminology. A home performance contractor is someone who can seal up a house. It's a contractor, and they bring a blower door too. Now you need a blower door. Not when you're doing a home energy inspection or writing a home energy report. You don't need a blower door for a home buyer or even a home seller. You need a blower door when you are trying to figure out what work to be done, and it involves air sealing and adding insulation. Because once you start to air seal a house and make it tight, you are affecting how, especially fuel burning appliances, function, and you could cause unhealthy, hazardous conditions if you air seal without thinking about, is it safe to do that afterwards? So you have to bring in ventilation. You have to have proper ventilation, and that's what a home performance contractor does. So you educate your clients, tell them about air leakage, saving energy, saving money, air sealing, insulation, and then recommend a home performance contractor to come in, and that includes a blower door. Here's one of the things. We're getting close to the end of the half hour, and I want to answer any questions that you have, but here's a picture of one of the things I commonly inspect is the space in between the chimney, masonry chimney, and the wood components of the home. Here's a vent pipe, a sewer stack pipe. This is a cast iron one, and there's a hole right there where the vent pipe goes through the attic floor, and you seal it up with some foam. You get a spray can, and it's both an air barrier and a thermal barrier. And why do we concentrate on the attic floor so much? Well, that's where most of the air escapes through. The air escapes through the floors, ceilings, and walls. Then it's the ducts. So the ducts need to be sealed with mastic, not duct tape, not even the metal tape. It's mastic. It's like a thick paint. You put it on with a trowel and a brush. Air leakage around the fireplace, then plumbing penetrations, then doors going down, windows, fans and vents, and then electrical outlets. Electrical outlets aren't that important. It's this kind of stuff that's really important. And building codes have requirements for new construction and additions. And it's a good idea to try to implement those requirements in existing homes when you're doing energy upgrades. And the code lists all the things that a new home should, all of the components that should be caulked, gasketed, weather stripped, or otherwise sealed with an air barrier, a suitable film, or a solid material. And they list all those things. And back to the 19 things for home inspectors to look at. Here's the 19 things. So air barrier and thermal barrier alignment. What that means, the air barrier and thermal barrier should be connected to each other. in contact with each other. You shouldn't have any separation or kinks, right? And it's hard to see that when you're a home inspector because we get to see the surface of the wall. So again, infrared is a great tool in order to look at those things. And we'll take a look at a couple pictures real quick here. I don't want to hold you for longer than you expected. But here are the 19 things. Attic air sealing areas, knee walls, we took a look at that. Shaft for pipes and ducts, we saw that. Drop ceilings and soffits like above the bathroom or kitchen. Staircase framing at an exterior wall. So when you have a basement and, well, you know, it could be a second floor wall. Staircase is up against the exterior wall. The carpenters will be attaching the framing for that staircase up against the stud wall, really. And sometimes those components come and mix with one another, and air sealing and insulation is kind of like forgotten in those areas often. Porch roof, when you're at the entry going into the home that you're inspecting and you look up, if you can move something at that porch roof and look above the ceiling of the porch and into the house, sometimes there's an opening right there. It's incredible. Attic access, that's an easy one. Recessed lighting, that's a good one. Ducts, whole house fan, those should be sealed up. Cantilever floor on the outside of the house where a floor is cantilevered out, there's usually a lot of insulation and vapor problems there, barrier problems. So here's a house that's under construction. Some insulation is being done, but the air barrier should be in alignment or touching the thermal barrier, the insulation, and it's not. This is an issue here. And a convective loop can form in these wall cavities if there's a gap between the insulation and the air barrier. So a convective loop, which is air movement within the wall cavity where there's temperature differences and cool air drops and warm air rises. And as that's happening, air could be drawn into the home. So cool air from a cold climate house in the wintertime can be drawn into the home because of this convective loop activity going on within the wall cavity and then condense on warm components within the wall. Now, as a home inspector, you find rotten sill plates, or if you're looking from the basement, you know, that rim joist area has rot at an exterior wall. First thing I think of is, oh, rain was penetrating in. We've got water and moisture problems from the exterior coming through the, it could be air leakage problems now. So air leakage is really important in trying to figure out moisture and condensation problems within the building components. So I had an infrared camera here. I've shot that exterior wall receptacle. Remember, it doesn't really contribute to a lot of air leakage, but this one does. Oh, and this is a training video on Nachi TV, nachi.tv. It's free online training videos for InterNACHI members, another benefit to being a member of InterNACHI. And this outlet in the summertime had hot air coming in and going up. We turned on bathroom fans on the second floor and turned on the dryer on the second floor, and we depressurized the house a little bit, and we just let it run for 10-15 minutes. And this outlet, wall outlet, was really hot. I mean, it was hot outside, but it's amazing how air from outside can move in to a home. Couple places to seal. These graphics, I'm going to let you go. I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I figured I'd show you some infrared stuff. Even though we're using an infrared camera, you can see this with your eyes from the other side, from the attic side. So this is a light fixture, and it was on fire. I mean, there's hot air blowing out of that light fixture because we depressurized the home with fans. We didn't use a blower door. That's me with an infrared camera pointing up at a smoke detector, and the smoke detector was on fire. It was hot. It was almost 100 degrees. And that's hot air coming into the smoke detector. And that's why, because the electrical box was not sealed around here. This is all open here. And there was dirty insulation around here. So in the wintertime, warm air from the home was going through the smoke detector and into the fiberglass insulation, and then causing darkened insulation and moisture problems in the attic space. So what about report narratives? What do you say in a home inspection report about energy leakage? Well, you don't have to. This is the beauty of being an InterNACHI member. As you know, you have access to the home energy report. This home energy report is easy to do. It takes a couple minutes to enter data that you've already collected about the home, about 40 pieces of data, and you enter like your clients' family members and their age, because this report is customized to the people that are moving into the home. It has nothing to do with the seller and their occupant behavior. So go to nachi.org/home energy report with hyphens in between, and write a home energy report at no cost to you for your next client. It's just another membership benefit, and more importantly, it provides incredible value to your client. Now you can charge for this. I would include it for free with every home inspection report and just bump up my fee for my inspection report, because you're providing value to your client. The perceived value of this home energy report you provide to your client is far greater than the cost, which is nothing. It only takes 4 minutes of your time. So that's a graphic of the report, and I wanted to show you. It shows you the cost estimates for the heating, the cooling, large appliances, small appliances, lighting, hot water, energy upgrades. This is where your narratives are located. This is where your recommendations to fix stuff are located. And it's in this report, you have to understand, you don't write the report. You don't write the narratives. The narratives come from the Department of Energy's Berkeley laboratory, a bunch of scientists developing this software, this energy calculator. And your client also gets, with every home energy report, a free ebook. This 31 chapter, 12,000 word ebook describes low to no cost ways for a homeowner to save energy. Recessed light cans. Recessed lights, they just leak energy. How do you fix them? Well, it's actually very easy. It's like an upside down bucket, and you seal it. They're called top hats. The attic access is very easy to seal as well. Every attic access should have weather stripping and some trim boards and a little latch and insulation on it. Nowadays they have this spray foam, like two tubes come together and air is jetted out, and they seal all the cracks wherever a component meets another component of the framing. That's sealed up. And if you wanted to really kick butt in your report, right? Graphics, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So let's go to the InterNACHI's graphics. We'll end real soon here, so hang in there. But I wanted to show you, you've probably been here before, but I want to show you what InterNACHI has, another membership benefit. So nachi.org/gallery. I'm going to see if I can zoom that in. So it's nachi.org/gallery. There it is. And in the search field, right over here to the right, you type in, well, you could type in anything, energy, let's say. See what comes up. So all these graphics come up, right? It's all about energy. And let's see, attic knee wall ventilation. That's pretty cool. And you can download a high resolution picture of it. So this shows you where heat might actually travel. So heat's coming up through it. Oh, no, this is ventilation. So the outside air is ventilated, but this is insulated, right? This needs to be sealed and insulated. This needs to be sealed and insulated. And so the ventilation comes right up through here. Remember the washing of the wool sweater that you were wearing? The wind washes it away. Well, if it's properly air sealed and ventilated, it wouldn't wash away. But here's your ventilation. Let's see. Just one more or two more. Let's go back here. nachi.org/gallery. I type in insulation. And let's see what we have. We have pictures of Here's a good one. I like this one. Picture of like a 3D picture of where you should install insulation. So oh, that's not, I don't want to use that. I want to use this. So you install insulation here at the band rim joist. This is the top plate that usually needs air sealant, but this is the nice way to excuse me, to have a air barrier as well as a thermal barrier with the rigid foam board insulation. So it gives you an idea of what to inspect. I would inspect for this. If I'm down in the basement, I'm looking for insulation and air barrier on top of the foundation wall, in between the joist bays, and along the rim, right? So that's what I'm looking for. Let's erase that. What did I hear? One more? Okay. Here is, well, yeah, if you're on a floating slab, very difficult to explain about insulation on floating slab, but we provide that graphic. I think you get the picture, right? We even have, oh, this is a good one. How about this? So, you know, there's that flow of air can go in the opposite direction as well. Cold air can fall, and so there's air leakage where the electrical wire goes through the building components. And so if you see trapped moisture here because of a convective loop, because the thermal barrier is not connected to the, see what I mean? These graphics really help you explain to your client what's going on. And it really makes your reports really awesome too. So if you have any questions, that's my name. We went a little overboard, but everybody hung in there. That's great. No one has left the building. And do you have any questions right now? The webinar is over. Feel free to leave, but if you want to stay, I'll stay till 8 o'clock and answer questions if you like.